YouTube vinyl community, people who like soundtracks, random people on the internet. My name is Giggens, and you might notice I'm in a bit of a different space today. My apartment's going through a little bit of a renovation work right now, and I've had to move things around and reorganize stuff just for the time being until my life resumes a non-chaotic state. And I've also shaved off my beard and got a haircut, so it's a whole transitional period here, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about Americathon. This is and again, I'm trying to work with the actual, just natural lighting coming in from the window. Americathon. The only reason why I would ever talk about this is because of the Beach Boys. It's a beautiful day on here, which is one of the most amazing Beach Boys songs of all time. But to get into this review, I wanted to at least check out the movie if I could and get some background about it. Long story short, I found a lot of it online, and it's like just unwatchable for me. I could not get into it. I thought the story was boring. I thought the acting was lame. I thought it was just kind of hokey all around. It might be a generational thing. Maybe it was really funny for its time or something, but watching it in 2020, not for me. So I did not enjoy it, but there's a lot of people in this movie. I mean, it's just loaded. You got Meatloaf, Jay Leno, there's a cameo from Elvis Costello, George Carlin's the narrator, Fred Willard, I mean, John Ritter. I mean, it's loaded with people, so it's got an amazing cast, and apparently it started as a play or something on stage, but yeah, it just was not catching my attention, so instead I was like, you know what, let's just put the record on and see where this takes me, so that's what we did, and it opens with arguably the best song on the album, and I'm not saying that just to be biased, it's just a really good song. It's a Beautiful Day by the Beach Boys, produced by Bruce Johnson. It's one of those songs where it's like, this could have been on an album. This could have been a big single. It could have been a statement for the Beach Boys in the late 70s of being like, hey, we can still have that surf, fun sound, but also be sort of mature and grown up with it at the same time. Like, there's so much they could have done with this song as a single to, I think, propel them into the 80s. With a mature, fun California sound that harkens on their past but sounds really, really current at that time. It's just, when it comes to obscure Beach Boys songs, this is an absolute treasure. It's one that every Beach Boys fan should know because it just sounds like the Beach Boys. It incorporates everything you love about them. It's got the did it kind of background stuff. Mike's vocals sound just like 60s Mike Love. Al on the verses is nailing it, and then Carl just completely kills the chorus. He nails it. His voice, as one person once sang who can sing the phone book, I mean, that's exactly true. This version on here, for me, was the first time I've heard something like this where it sounds like a longer, extended jam version. The other file I've had of it over the years has always been shortened up and kind of more constricted. So that was really cool to hear it a bit longer on this actual LP. You know, and this is one of the rare instances where I'm kind of like, you know, it's kind of fun to hear them mention fun, or being in the sun, or all the cheesy, hokey 60s stuff. And I say that they're using this nostalgia to catch on, to make you listen to something new so it sounds familiar kind of way. I'm not saying their 60s stuff was cheesy or hokey. It's just over the years, they've used that a lot. But this was one of the earlier times they did that. But just a really, really fun song. You know, it's such a lively, bright, energetic, optimistic track, and it really does show an artistic growth. It expands on what they would have done in the 60s, but making it sound like now in the late 70s. So, man, to think what could have been. But that could have fit on the LA album with no problem. And then you get a whole bunch of other stuff on here. It's kind of constricted. There's only a handful of artists on here, which is interesting. It's a pretty short soundtrack, but you get Eddie Money with Get a Move On, which is a really solid track. I mean, it's some great drumming on this thing. I love the Joe Walsh sort of slide guitar on this thing. Excellent harmonies on this track, too. And, of course, Eddie's cool guy vocals. Eddie Money has such a cool voice, and it's sad that he's gone because his voice was awesome. Great chorus on this track. Nice hook to it. And then you get Eddie again with Open Up Your Heart. This totally has that sort of classic rock style, piano ballad type feel. Eddie's voice is a little bit raspy, which of course I like a lot. And it adds to that smoky atmosphere of the track itself. But I love this one. The guitar solo against the string section is nice. The whole thing sort of drips with emotion, which is pretty cool. But and the whole song itself is kind of a grower. It sort of builds as it goes. It's got a good like romance to it. So, Eddie Money, good on you. Then you get probably my favorite Elvis Costello song, or at least in my top 5. I Don't Want to Go to Chelsea, which is about going to the insane asylum. It's such an amazing song. The drumming on here is manic, but it's also timed to a T. Perfection in the rhythm section with the attractions. Wow, it's been a long day. I love the tense organ that this thing has. The total feeling of anxiety. It totally sounds like it's like scared to have to leave, the comfort of your home to go to this place you don't want to be in. Elvis's vocals are just impassioned and desperate. I love this song. The build up throughout this track is crazy. It's such a fun, energetic, catchy song, and really, there's not a whole lot of tracks in his catalog like this one in particular, with how intricate it is, and the construction of the song is like really intense. But I love it. Then you get Crawling to the USA, another Elvis song here. It's just high-flying early Elvis Costello, that crazy organ sound, fast quips, speedy drums, and it's a song that is super, super fast that has the title Crawling in it. So it's digging that one a lot. Then he gets side 2 with Without Love, produced by Nick Lowe, also performed by Nick Lowe, which is he wrote What's So Funny About Peace, Love, and Understanding for Elvis, so buddies here. Definitely like a Byrds influence on this one, which I like a lot. It's got a little bit of a country flavor to it, and the vocals are really direct and honest. Great vocal melody on this track as well, and the splashy drums give me like a Ringo feel, which I think is cool. That's a welcome change throughout this track. Good dynamics on it. But, for being a pop country kind of track, I had a lot of fun with this one. And the bass on this I thought was pretty good too. Then you got Tom Scott doing a song called Car Wars, which sounds like a spacey disco rock track. It's okay. It's repetitive. It didn't do anything for me. It must have been something you put on like the roller skating rink or something, but didn't do much for me. Zayn Busby, Don't You Ever Say No. This is Zayn Busby. I looked her up. She's apparently like a really big deal. Like, she's a director, an actress, philanthropist. I mean, she's like been everything. And she's in this movie too. But her song on here is really interesting. She gives us like really over the top, out of breath performance against some really gritty guitars, like kind of pumping pianos in the background. And it just sounds like she's having a blast with this song. So this one was pretty cool. I enjoyed that one. And then the last one we got the song called Gold on here by Harvey Korman. And this one just did nothing for me. This sounds totally musical theater in a really corny way. It's really over the top. It's just kind of cheesy. It just did nothing for me. Did not find anything of interest with this song. Here's the back cover. Let me put this against the light a little bit so you can see it better. But, stills from the movie. And I'll show you the inner sleeve here. This was released on the Lorimar Records label. I'll show you this side with the Beach Boys on it, because I know that's what we're all here for, so. Interesting label. Reminds me a little bit of the Portrait label from the 70s. And that's it. Like I said, the movie did nothing for me, and overall the soundtrack it's okay. It's really short, and it kind of suffers because of that. I think if there were a few more songs on here, it might be kind of a little bit more fun. But overall, in terms of like catching my attention, it just really didn't do much for me. The Beach Boys, the Eddie Money songs, and the Elvis Costello songs. Basically, side 1 is worth the price of admission for me. I found this for like $1, which I've been looking for this for a long time. I wanted this in my collection just to have It's a Beautiful Day and the actual original vinyl release. But overall, as a whole, I'd have to give this thing like maybe a 4 or 5 out of 10. It's a really weak soundtrack. And, for being something that came from the stage, there really isn't a whole lot of original music on this thing. And again, I haven't seen the whole movie, so there might be more original music in the movie. that they could have incorporated into the soundtrack to make it more complete. But overall, yeah, it just really didn't do much for me besides side one, and especially side one, track one. So that's it. Not my favorite thing I've ever heard in the world. The chances of me playing this again are extremely low. And that's it. Various artists, Americathon, buy it for the Beach Boys. That's it. Well, of course, Eddie and Elvis, but yeah. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Giggens. This has been Americathon, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.